Welcome to the Popko Project Podcast, a platform for the discussion and discovery of arts and entertainment. We focus on highlighting people and events that add value to the world around us. Visit us on all social media platforms by searching the Popko Project or visit our website at thepopkoproject.com. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for listening. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Keller's Garden Center and Landscaping Services. Contact Keller's today and get your yard cleaned up before that dirty old man winter comes. I hate to say it, but he's on his way. The mornings are cold. They're frigid. I don't like it. I'm turning the steering wheel warmer on. I'm putting the seat warmers on. It's just miserable. But contact Keller's today. And if you're looking for snow removal services during the winter months, they can take care of that for you too. Do not break your back this winter and leave the heavy lifting to the professionals at Keller's. Family owned and operated. Their team is looking forward to serving you. Keller's Garden Center and Landscaping Services, located on Kern Street in Exeter near Blue Ribbon Dairy. Find them on social media to learn more. Betty White Devil.
Is I? Yeah, that is. It's
what's the real name? What's the obviously Betty White Devil is what you go by from a performer perspective, but what's your real name?
Real name is David James Baker. I usually go by DJ to most people. Some people call me Dave, DJ, Dave, either or.
That's like the whitest name ever.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, in fact, I'm pretty sure it is, numerous times a year, the whitest name.
You've won awards for the whitest name.
Yeah. That and like things like Trevor. No, that's it. No, there's Trevor Noah. So never mind that.
Yeah. Isn't David Baker some kind of like UFO guy? Is that? I think something.
Mike Baker is a CIA operative, and that's coincidentally my uncle and my brother's name.
Okay, I gotta look this up. David Baker sounds like something I've heard before. David Baker.
I think I'm like one of many in the northeastern Pennsylvania area, including my father.
Yeah, this guy is an American biochemist.
Oh,
that's I thought there was more. But has anyone ever told you that you look like some kind of celebrity? You resemble like one. I can't think of who it is.
At different times, I've heard James Blunt.
Yes.
Or there's also Paul Rudd is one of them.
Yes. I was gonna say Paul Rudd meets Edward Norton.
Nice. I'll take it. Take them both. It's funny. One time, who's that singer? He's I want to say on Broadway now, but he was known for maybe doing Christian music. He's like, you raise me up so I can do. Well, whoever that guy was, I forget his name now, but I remember being at the Apple store in New York City, or one of the Apple stores, and this trio of what I assume to be a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter they had like Eastern European sounding accents, and they asked me, they're like, and they said the guy's name, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not, because they looked all excited, and I was just like, I know we're in New York City. No, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not him.
Yeah, I once ran across a guy. And I forget his name. He's a voice in The Simpsons. He was in Friends. He's played some other characters.
Hank
Uh,
Azaria.
yes, thank you. I saw
Yeah.
him in Cape May, and I couldn't think of who I wanted. Like, oh, you're the guy from Friends. You're the guy for the voice from whatever. And I didn't want to bother him because Cape May is like a quaint little town. It's like a beachy. It's like, and it was like off season, so like he was just trying to enjoy time with the family. And I was like, I don't want to bother him, but I gotta know. I gotta know. And I'm like, hey, are you that actor? And he just goes, nope. And he just went on his way. And I'm like, he's lying to me. He's lying.
That
Uh,
was that was an urge that I had to just curb real early on when I moved. I lived in LA for a number of years, and so like when I first moved, I was living near USC, so not really celeb hub. But then my friends and I we moved to pretty much the thick of it, and it was an everyday occurrence where you would see someone either from film, television, music, you name it, just here at I'm at the Albertsons and there's so and so, and like just all the time I wanted to just be like, I like your shit.
there was one time I was in Disney, and I don't know if you've ever been before, but and I forget what part of Disney I was in. But like the streets are pretty narrow in one of the parks, and they were having like a parade, and we were like getting ready to watch the parade. And I look across the street from me, and there's this guy who looks exactly like Dave Matthews. And he looks at me, he sees me see him, and we spoke words without speaking words. Like he saw me look at him, like I was like, "Are you who I think you are?" And he looked at me, we locked eyes, and he kind of just nodded, like, "Yes, I am who you think I am. Don't bother me." Because he was with his kids and his family. So I was like, okay, I just like I didn't bother him. And the only reason I could verify it and know that it was him because someone else from NEPA was also there at the same exact time, and they didn't honor his or respect his space. They got a photo with him. So I knew for that was exactly who it was, Dave Matthews, and I we spoke without speaking.
Yeah, see, you respected the unspoken agreement,
Yeah,
and then
like
there's other people that just they're the main characters, so
yeah.
they have to get their experience.
Well, I think that was back in, I want to say 2007. So that was before, cell phones were what they are today.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't imagine being a celebrity, with how things are. It's because people are constantly like, hey, snag a picture. And, the whole open mouth, like, ah.
Yeah, and like in my experiences, like when it's kind of like around here where it's like if you see like a teacher or someone as a doctor or whatever, like okay, like that's the industry. Like out there, yeah, you would see all these people all the time, and it's like, oh, cool, we go to the same bank. Great, like it's
Yeah, we're people. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And that was the cool thing is like being able to see like again, like these people, it's like, and they're just pushing a stroller and like, oh, they have trouble wrangling in their kids also. Celebrities, they're just like us.
Yeah. How about it? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I get Joey Fatone a lot.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Like, and when I
yeah.
say a lot, it's been well over 100 times, maybe close to 200 times.
Have you ever tried or like thought about capitalizing on it? Like setting up a photo booth or like a autograph signing?
Well, see, yeah, I actually I have, but I know that with my luck, I would get in trouble somehow, some way. The worst part is I was in Atlantic City. I think it was 2014 or 2013, maybe it was. And he was doing something for or in Atlantic City, and we actually passed him in a casino. And my wife's like, "There's Joey Fatone. You need to get a picture with him." And again, I was like, "I'm not that guy. I'm not like, hey." Now, if had I had a few more drinks, I probably would have been like, "Yo, Joey Fatone." Like, we look alike. Yeah, weird, right? And I probably would have asked him for a photo, but I was too nervous. But that would have been like my opportunity to get a picture side by side Well, I'm his doppelganger, I guess.
Yeah, so that means I think one of you has to. I think he has to die. I think that's how doppelgangers work.
Well, let's hope
If
not. I don't want him to die.
if you see your doppelganger, one of you got to go.
Oh, he didn't see me. I saw him. Does that mean I die?
No, he can go.
Okay,
Although,
good. Phew.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how that law works.
Yeah, I
I
mean
think he wants.
he's had a good run. He's done a lot.
Yeah,
You know, I'm
just tell him
still
bye.
I, yeah, I'm still on my real slow rise. Like I just give me like 80 more years, bud. You know?
Yeah,
Oh man. But yeah, Joey Fatone is what I get.
yeah. It's
But
funny that we all have our twins out there.
yeah, I was thinking Paul Rudd, but like it wasn't like a hint of Paul Rudd, but like not like Paul Rudd for sure.
Yeah, like right now I've got the hair of Paul Rudd when he's in Wet Hot American Summer. I think if you've
Speaking
ever
of,
seen that.
I no, I haven't. But did you see the just recently released trailer for Ghostbusters?
Uh, no, you know what? Was that the other day or so that they
Yeah.
just came out with it? I knew that it was coming up because on all like the movie subreddits and stuff like that, they're talking about that going to be coming out, but I didn't see it just yet.
That's yeah, I mean, I'm so excited. I mean, I was a huge Ghostbusters fan when I was little. I mean, Peter Venkman was my guy.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's got all the like all of them return except for I think Egon is in real life passed away.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, um,
If we get a Winston Zedmore in there, I'm in.
Winston's in.
Yeah, all right.
Slimer makes an appearance. Even the what's that guy that tries to shut them down in the first one?
Oh, the EPA guy?
Yeah,
I just know him as Dickless.
Dickless, yes. Uh, he's in it. The receptionist, she's in it.
Janine.
Janine, yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Nice, nice.
But we're not here to
Yeah.
talk about Ghostbusters. We're not here to talk about
Nah.
Joey Fatone. We're not here to talk about Dave Matthews or Paul Rudd or all the famous people that are so above our heads, right? We're here to talk about Betty White Devil.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
See,
man. You sent me your stuff. You just released an album just late last year. So maybe like what, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
yeah, going on, yeah, maybe about a month. I did the thing where I uploaded it to like the distribution services, and they're always like, "Oh, it could take like 2 weeks or so." And I was like, "Okay, so maybe it'll come out in January." And like it
Right.
came out like 3 days later.
Yeah. So it's titled Uranus Ore Mine. And we'll get into that. But I listened to it, and I'll tell you what, it was not what I was expecting. I was expecting this real goofy type of music just based on the album title. But a lot of it's really good, dude. Like
Thank
just
you.
some of the tracks that kind of stood out to me. Without a Fight, Wisdom and Learning, Are We in Love, In My Mind. Um, there are just a few that kind of like really caught my ear.
Cool.
What again, the music is completely not doesn't go along with the title of the album. So let's talk before we get to there. Let's talk about Betty White Devil. Like, I mean, let's talk about how that name occurred and talk about the life that is Betty White Devil, and then we'll talk about the album title and things like that.
For sure. So the name came about one night at the bog. Some friends and I were just goofing and just coming up with, at the time, what we thought would be like funny, like fake album titles. So there were things like Girth Brooks was one, Deep in Thought, 2001: A Space Odyssey, things like that. Power to the People. which was actually I ended up naming one of the tours I did last year up in New England and through the Mid Atlantic, the Power to the Peephole tour. But it was just like a bunch of goof album titles, kind of like how bands like NoFX, things like Heavy Petting Zoo or Blink with their Enema of the State and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket kind of things. And mid conversation, it then like turned out to like, okay, like, oh yeah, like maybe I will get back into playing music. This sounds fun. And then I'd been writing songs, I mean, for forever. Like, I don't think you ever really stop doing things like that, at least in some small ways. And so the day that Betty White passed away, which I believe was New Year's Eve.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, all right, that's a sign. Now or never. Pulled the trigger. I got the Instagram, like the email, like I went full on with Betty White Devil.
Okay.
And yeah, that's kind of how that started.
Why Devil? Why Devil? Where did that come from?
The idea, I if I remember it, well, like at least what I go by now, and I'm pretty sure it's true to what its original inception was. Kind of like a play on sort of how, you've got Betty White, this cherished, figure in both the entertainment world, and she did a lot of things for animal rights and things like that, and other causes.
So naked.
Like, yes,
did she
many causes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she did at least the top.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, so that's like one half, and then like, what's the complete opposite of that? It's like, well, White Devil. Sort of
okay.
like the Marilyn Manson thing is like the combination of Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson, like these two just opposing ideas. And,
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at it like that. I didn't even look at it like Betty White and then White Devil.
Yeah, and also it's just like Betty White Devil works because like imagining Betty White as like a devil figure is another just absurd thing too to think about. That this nice woman could just be evil.
And I think she died like a month before her 100th birthday too. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like it's almost as if like she did that as like the one final joke.
Yeah, that's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, 99. Like hopefully we can all at least cross the 85, 90 year threshold. I'd be happy with that.
That'd be great. I always say, like, I'm 41, so I had this real big problem a year ago when I turned 40. I'm like, well, my life is basically, if God willing, I make it to 80, my life is halfway over.
So I had some existential thoughts when my older brother turned 40 a couple of years ago, and the way I looked at it, because now, like, hopefully eventually I'll get there. When you think about it, like maybe the first 18 years, 20 years of your life, the majority of that is spent not being a full human to a certain degree, depending on like what our situations are. But I started looking at it as like, okay, when you turn 40, you've really only been at it maybe about half that time, so you're technically just in your 20s.
I like that. But you're right. You're very right, though. You're right, because those first 20 years, you're under someone else's thumb, basically.
Yeah, you've got school, you've got your family and parents and stuff like that. You're not like an independent entity, until much later, and so we really can only take responsibility maybe from about I'll say like maybe like 25, onward, because your brain's not even completely developed, I don't think, until you're
25,
mid-20s, something like that.
So basically, we shouldn't be held accountable for anything we do from birth to 25. Did you bring it?
Yeah. It's like, no, it wasn't me. I'm
That was
sorry. I'm not.
underdeveloped brain, John, you know?
Yeah. It's like, that was the, is it like that was in beta mode? That was the,
Mhm.
just the test
Yeah.
product.
Just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays you can't even, you can't do anything because everything lives forever on the internet, you know? I'm glad I grew up in a time where
Yeah. Right.
I could make mistakes without it being permanent.
Yeah. Although,
But
the early days of Facebook was awesome. Like I was at one of the first schools that had it, and it was so awesome. It was like just pictures of people just getting absolutely wrecked, and like like the morning after photos and stuff. It was something to behold. It was great. Glad that glad that none of that survived. At least that
yeah, I was
the
introduced to
wave.
it. I was introduced to it in 2005. I was on spring break, my senior year of college, and we ran into this group of people. Um, and like we were partying all week, and they're like, "Oh, do you guys have Facebook?" I'm like, "What the hell is Facebook?" And they're like, "Oh, there's this thing. It's like you can stay in touch with people, but you need a college email for it." And I'm like, "Well, I have one of those." So I signed up when we got back, and it was still kind of clunky. I was like, well, this is
It
whatever.
was the Facebook back then.
Was it the Facebook back then?
Yeah, yeah,
Man, what a time. And then I kind of fell into MySpace a few months later. That was like my go-to.
yeah.
And I think it
So
was like,
I
good.
describe my music as like music for people who were into MySpace.
Okay. Well, let's talk more about this. Betty White Devil. Uh, but you also said you got back into music. Was there a pre Betty White Devil
Yeah,
life?
I grew up playing in with groups of friends or through high school. One of the bands, um, my friends that I played with, a friend decided to learn bass, and like we had like a band for a little bit, and then like he started playing with other bands, and he got really good, and he now plays and has been playing bass for the Menzingers. My
Oh, no
buddy
kid.
Eric, he
No
yeah
kidding.
he was one of my first bandmates, and it's super awesome to see like all those guys like just everything that they have coming to them is absolutely deserved. Like not not a day that I hear their music goes by like where I'm just not like thinking like, yeah, for sure, like you guys are awesome.
So
More
good.
of this, please. Yeah.
So good. Yeah. And everything. Like I don't think they put out anything bad.
Yeah, and the great thing is like I feel like because we're the similar ages and stuff, like the music and we have grown with it. It's
Yeah.
it's been awesome to see their ride. So I played in high school bands, had bands in college, um, with friends, uh, that we again like I learned a lot from being uh, in bands with these guys, like learning better songwriting techniques, um, just different ways of looking at how to construct songs. I totally credit my friends Josh and Carson with teaching me how to um, write better songs, because I would listen to the songs they would write, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm getting it.
Right.
And yeah, then I played solo for a bit, and then also with my one of my best friends, Tom. He was in a couple different bands that we had together, and then we would do like some duo things together. But then I got into acting, um, and then that brought me out west, and I had my guitar and everything there, and it probably would have been no big deal to like go to an open mic and kind of get myself in the scene there. But like the demands of going to auditions, every day pretty much, and then you work your evening hours at like I was fortunate enough where my neighborhood had everything within a couple blocks of where I needed to be. So, go to auditions all day and then quick hour rest and then go into work at like a restaurant or a cafe, for a shift. And but yeah, I was always playing and writing. I never really took the chance to get into music while out in LA just because I was so focused on the acting thing.
And where did that go? This acting thing? Anywhere?
Yeah, I got to within my first month of being in LA, I got representation for like, commercial, print, modeling, all kinds of stuff. And then because of people I met along the way, it's, it's very true that it's all about, making connections and being friendly and personable. Because then people are willing to work with you or have you, throw you a bone here and there. So I got to do some fun things where I got to work with like Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn for some MTV promos.
No shit.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a couple days because we had like some rehearsal days kind of thing, and then just watching them break down the script and then just basically decide like, no, we're just gonna, do our thing. And yeah, did some commercials, appeared on like some, just quick walk-on parts of like television shows that my mom watched. Or I think my favorite part of being out there doing that was when I was in a play for which the theater in LA. There's kind of like this at that time there was like it's like not. I mean, it still kind of isn't as big as obviously television and movies and all that stuff, but I got the opportunity to be in a play first. It was like for a couple weekends, and then it got picked up, so where then it became a couple months. And it was pretty cool because like I remember meeting. He came to the show to see one of the other actors in it that he's friends with, but Dennis Haskins, who played Mr. Belding.
Mr. Belvin, yeah.
Yeah, I remember meeting him, and he's like incredibly tall. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, like things like that. It was really interesting. But then after a few years, I kind of got the itch for something new, and so saw a couple documentaries about like a couple different jobs that like looked pretty cool. Like some of them were sort of special operations oriented in the military, and then so it kind of started that process a little bit, and decided to move back to Pennsylvania because I was like, well, if I'm going to ship out somewhere and be away for a couple of years doing this, hopefully getting into this select group, I'd want to see my family. But then while I was home, a friend of mine told me that the fire department was going to be administering their tests, and so I all the people in the military that I knew or had just gotten out, or a couple of these people that I'd met in the community that I was trying to join, they're like, dude, yeah, firefighting, you'll have so much more freedom, like to do what you want as far as vacation time and all that stuff, and just being home. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do this. So I became a firefighter in 2018.
Are you still a firefighter now?
Yeah. Actually, I got off this morning, 7 a.m. So we work 24-hour shifts. So I go in 7 a.m. and then I leave 7 a.m. the next day.
That's amazing. Part of me feels like you should change your band name. No, because like, dude, when you hit me up, I'm like, this seems goofy. This seems real goofy. And I'm like, I don't know. And it's a perfect example of never judge a book by its cover, right? So here you are, like this, musician, and out in LA, and doing acting and all this other kind of stuff, and now you're a firefighter.
Yeah, like, maybe in a couple of years I'll be a ventriloquist, and neurosurgeon.
Hey, why not?
Although organic chemistry would probably destroy me. I don't think I can handle that. I actually, so this band Foch, out in Pittsburgh, a couple of those guys, well, they're brothers, and two of them are still in college. Maybe one of them is just finishing up, and they study like molecular biology and, like, I want to say, some other, like, just hard science, math, discipline. And I'm just like, cool. And you guys write these awesome songs. Well, ooh.
Wow. This whole, like, I had no idea that I was going to be getting into this with you. That's you've lived quite a few lives,
Oh
in
yeah, yeah.
your short time here. We'll call it short time. I don't know how old you are, but we'll call it short.
Well, I'm not quite, but I see 40,
Okay.
down the road.
Still,
I see it there.
Yeah, but I mean, I will call it 15 years. You've done a lot in 15 years, from 25 till now.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been interesting. I feel like, anything that catches my attention, I'm going to try and see how I could, if, I'll look a little bit more into it and then see if it becomes part of, my tapestry of experiences. Then, yeah, I'll go for it.
Now, all jokes aside, are there things that you want to do or see yourself possibly doing?
Oh
down the
yeah,
road?
for sure. Yeah, I'm kind of dabbling in it now, but I think at some point I think it'd be cool to teach or be an instructor, something along the way. I'm currently coaching track and cross country with one of my best friends, for an area high school, and so that's been cool to kind of, I mean, get people into something that I'm very much into. I ran in college and, did compete a little bit afterwards. And so I think it was actually also what I initially went to school to be, was an English teacher. So I think at some point, I think it might be, even if it's just like substitute, see, see what it's like, for real.
I see all kinds of walks of life throughout my day or week or whatever you want to call it. And I always kind of like, I see somebody, and I always think I wish I would have like dabbled in that, or like, I recently just started doing PA announcing for King's College men's and women's basketball. And
Oh, that's fast paced.
yeah, so it's not play by play, but it's like, announcing fouls and substitutions, and it's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. But I'm having so much fun. But like, so I announce the starting lineups, and I'll announce like, oh, this coach in his or her like 45th year. And it's like, holy shit! Like, you've been coaching for 45 years, and I start thinking about like, man, like, I wish I would have got involved like earlier in this whole like college scene or whatever it might be, because like that, I mean, I'm 5'9" and I'm white, so basketball is just not in the cards for me. But I could have like done like different routes to like stay involved, and I don't know if I just never thought about it, or I was just kind of focused on whatever it was, girls or my job or whatever, and I just
whatever it was that you felt was more, appealing at that time and more interesting.
Yeah, I guess
we follow our interests.
Yeah, I never like really thought about it. Maybe I just didn't know that those were, obviously I knew they were options. I just didn't know it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but like so many things in life that I wish I would have like entertained maybe. Like, but like you can't do everything, right? It's like weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer in if you can see it, you can be it. And so that's like why I enjoy coaching, because I'll ask, students that are looking at schools like, oh, okay, what schools are you looking at? What are you thinking about, majoring in, or like what areas do you think you might like to study? I'm not looking to develop, you know, Olympic athletes or anything like that. I just like to help maybe make a good impression and help people develop into more rounded individuals, and kind of learn from the experience of running that put in the time and then you see the results.
Right.
It doesn't have to be, I'm not looking, as long as people are putting in the effort, I'm just looking to, help people see that there are possibilities.
Right. And like maybe reach their potential.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I coach my son's baseball and basketball teams, and he's only in kindergarten, so it's very, very low level. But like, I really enjoy that too. It's like, because I
Yeah.
used to play baseball, and I said I played basketball, and um, you know, it's I wouldn't mind continuing uh, being a part of that. Even into his, you know, um, you know, junior high or whatever. I think nowadays, like these coaches are just really super smart. So I don't know if I could be smart enough where the high school programs and stuff like that. But um, yeah, so I am doing these things now, I guess you could say. And I wish, but I'm 41, like I said. I wish I would have done these things sooner.
You're doing it right when you need to be.
You're very kind. Yes, I guess so. Yeah.
It's well, because it's like I mean, I would go to countless auditions, and there's like multiple roles, so I'm in there, and I could tell the people that are going for the same role that I am, because we all look the same or have like just very similar characteristics. But then I also see the people that, okay, yeah, like they're my parents' age, or older, or things like that, where it's like, oh, like for very many things, there's no cutoff age,
Right.
and so I feel like as long as you've got some air in your lungs, a couple thoughts in your head, and you know, able to get out there, might as well.
Yeah, I think I get my own way in the sense like, you can't just wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm gonna be a firefighter, and then you go be a firefighter. Like it takes a lot of effort, training, and things like that. And it's like, I don't know, I don't have a lot of time in the day the way it is, full-time job. I mean, this is a pure passion project, so like I could, maybe get rid of this, and use my time differently than this. But like I got two kids, I'm married, like I got a lot going on. And everyone says, "Oh, you're just making excuses," but like those things take time. It's very important to me to be a good father and a good husband, and I would never want to not be present in those roles. So you get to a point in your life where you're 41, uh, and it's just like not in the cards per se.
Yeah, for yeah, that would be one of the things for sure. Firefighting it would be a lot. I mean, I have friends that they were on the same list as I was, and they had to turn down the opportunity to go away, because we go away, for a couple months now. It's even longer, because they're going to come out with so many more certifications and things like that. But yeah, friends were like, they had to turn it down because, well, my wife is pregnant, or we just had a kid, and so yeah, shaping a human, I feel like, yeah, that's a pretty awesome gig.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck that up. I don't want to fuck that up.
Yeah, so it's um it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, you're raising, and developing life. So that's like, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It is a great thing. I'm very proud of it, and it's like the most important thing to me. So I guess I should stop thinking about all the extracurricular things I could be doing and just focus my time and efforts on that.
Yeah, I mean, like, trust me, there are many times when, especially like in the, well, I mean, just moving back to this area now, that not that it's like, I mean, I grew up here, so I was very much aware of how Pennsylvania is and stuff. But there are very many times when I catch myself thinking like, oh man, I I gave up that for this. But at the same time, it's like it's very easy to get complacent in an area where the weather is gorgeous,
Sure.
360 days a year. Maybe you get 5 days of just meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so. But how are you going to develop? What kind of I was always suspicious of people that never had to shovel snow or rake leaves. You know, like
You're not
it's
angry.
like
Why are you not angry?
yeah, it's like wait a minute. People are like, oh, the June gloom. We got the overcast on the
Yeah.
ocean today on the beach. It's like, yeah, we're at the beach though.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Well, and that's another thing too. Like when I think about, it'd be cool to do this and to do that because there's so many different perspectives. Like I once was a host and a waiter at a restaurant before I started a full-time job. And that was one of the, I think, most important jobs that I ever had before my full-time job because that was an eye-opener. And I feel like almost everyone should have to be in the service industry in some
Yes.
form
Yeah. Yeah.
because it teaches you a lot. It teaches you patience and it teaches you um, multitasking and all a plethora of things that I can't think on off the top of my head right at the moment. But how to deal with people and how to,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
just like, I mean, I would recommend being that to anybody, at least
Yeah.
for a certain amount of time.
I was a host for a time at my neighborhood Chinese restaurant, and it was this cool place where like again, the clientele coming in is everyone from like your roommates, to just yeah Hollywood. And I was the host, and it was kind of funny because a lot of times I'm seeing people walking towards the door. I'm anticipating like how many are in the party. So I've got like a number of menus ready and stuff like that. And I welcome them and they're like, hi, do you work here? And it's like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, the
But yeah,
best.
it's being a host is very much you're like the because even when like your servers and your bussers and your runners and stuff have their positions, but as a host I always looked at it as like, all right, I'm an extra set of eyes and ears and try and anticipate whatever needs might need to be met.
Yeah,
uh,
you're
yeah,
playing
restaurants and
Tetris, playing
yeah,
Tetris with all the pieces where they need to go. But
yeah.
it's so funny. You gotta change this name.
I could just go by all right, Girth Brooks it is.
Yeah. No, I feel bad that I not that I judged, but I was just like, oh, you know what, this could be goofy, but like you're this,
it's it's been
educated,
interesting.
diverse, like, intelligent person who's like I said, has like a multiple of lives that you've lived so far. And um I want to get back to Betty White Devil because the
Sure.
music's good too, and that's obviously part of your life. These songs, and I mentioned earlier, there's a few of them that kind of stood out when I was running through it. Without a fight, wisdom and learning, are we in love? In my mind. Can you talk about what those songs or some of the songs and some of your writing is about in general?
Yeah. Well, the one of my friends he pointed out that I write about the ocean and trains a lot. And it's just like, well, those were kind of environments that I was in. Again, like growing and developing as a person. Um, songs like the ones you mentioned, I could think of moments that I sort of then extrapolated, you know, aspects from to create a song or to at least start with an idea. Um, because I mean, as creative as I like to think I am, I tend to write best when I have some type of uh, reaction, to something. Um, but uh, I also then try to make it not so, you know, autobiographical, but at the same time, because, uh, you know, I have the same idea that I think a lot of people do when it comes to creating something is you have your intention behind it, but then you put it out there and it's for whoever is going to, ingest it. And then it's whatever they decide it is. It's, well, that's it. I mean, unless it's like, blatantly wrong. I will say that Without a Fight was an attempt to write, um, and Wisdom and Learning is another song where it's kind of like a nod to the uh, the alternative rock of the late '90s, early 2000s, with a little bit of the pop punk influence. But I mean, yeah, a song like Wisdom and Learning it's not a very specific, uh, but the spirit of things that I've lived. And I think that's what a lot of the songs reflect also, uh, the spirit of my experiences. But yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. You just you came off a show recently at the Ritz.
Yeah.
Um, was that the first time kind of playing these songs? I assume you played some of them. I'm not sure how long you've been Betty White Devil and if you performed under that name already, last year or whatever. And is it a full band? Or is it just you? Do you play a multitude of instruments? Like, how does that work?
So for the recording, I played, the guitars, the bass, and like layered in the organs and the synths and stuff like that, and then had friends um, play play the drums. Um, uh, Jason Cracer that I met through actually through work. Uh, he's a Dunmore guy, and then also Steve Warner from Young Burgo,
Yep.
Broke Pines, and pretty much every every band that needs a drummer seems to hire him. So they help me round it out. But yeah, I've been playing um, these songs, yeah, since Betty White Devil's inception. And so like my first show was in Philly, um, uh, maybe in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I've been I've been playing these songs as a solo artist, but actually just recently um, put some feelers out to some musicians to see what schedules are like to get some full band shows in the future. Coming up uh, in March, it looks like I'll have someone accompanying me. Actually, another area musician, Jamie Zaleski, who I played with or I opened for Saturday night, his band, Southside Bandits, but he also is the singer and guitar player of a really fun reggae band called Young Lion.
Yeah.
And so he's been gradually, learning some songs of mine to then kind of, okay, be able to do uh, some add more texture to the songs, give them another, a level up. But yeah, for the most part, I've been I've been playing these all solo, which is fun because I get to try to meet the expectations of maybe people attending to see like a full band rock show, because I'm still very much an opener, which I've got no problem with. Like it's fun trying to win people over and show them like, hey, yeah, I've got an acoustic guitar and a harmonica, but like, you're gonna hear something you like. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you have to do a full band. I think the
Yeah.
people deserve it. We deserve it. Give
Yeah.
us that full
Yeah.
sound.
I kind of I modeled it after like musicians that I grew up listening to, like like Elliott Smith or Conor Oberst and Bright Eyes, or Laura Jane Grace and Against Me, where uh, they have like they can do their full band thing, but then also they can pull off the solo acoustic sets. A lot of times, so it helps with flexibility in booking, because if people can't make it, oh, it's like, oh well, we got an offer in New Jersey. Oh, we can't all make it. It's like, all right, well, I can still make it.
Right.
And so yeah, it's gonna be fun though. We definitely have something cooking up uh, in the kitchen for later on.
Okay. And what were your thoughts on the Ritz?
Oh, I had a blast. It was the first time I think playing on, yeah, like a stage with that level of production. Like it was really cool. They had the album, imagery in the background up on the big screen and stuff, and had lights going. Play venues that have sound text and stuff like that, but this is definitely a fun experience. And yeah, the guys in Modern Ties, they're really chill, and Southside Bandits. I'm actually, I could, if there was still snow on the ground, I could throw snowballs at multiple members of that band. We all live in the same neighborhood. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was a good night.
I was at I don't know, I think it might have been the first show since like Josh Balls and gosh, I can't remember his name. James, I think is his first name.
Yeah, Alecki, I believe is the
Alecki.
last name.
Yeah. So I was at the Another Day Dawn show with Dustin Douglas
Mm-hmm.
and
There's Look
that
Back Luna, Another Day Dawns, Death Valley
Death Valley
Dreams,
Dreams.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
So
Dustin Douglas.
I missed the first three or four openers. I got there. I'm like, who did I miss? And they're like everyone except for Another Day Dawns. I'm like, God damn it. But but yeah, so that was my first time there. And I feel like this is gonna be a problem because and I saw the show announcement with you guys, you and Modern Ties and Southside Bandits. I'm like, I want to go see that too. But like I said earlier, wife and kids, and there's a show that I was supposed to go to at the Jazz Cafe the same night. I think it was um, the band I interviewed called Yam Yam. So like, I want to go to all these things, but it's like I can't go to all of them. And I also, again, like I like being home. So it's gonna be a problem in that it's a good problem. It's no one else's problem. It's my problem. But to have another venue in Scranton that will allow you know local artists to be able to do that is wonderful because prior to that it was like the V Spot, which also a great venue, but there's
Mhm.
not a lot of places.
Yeah,
So
it's
this is good.
it's for sure a welcome addition. Not only because like you said, like the V Spot was one of the only local venues that had like in the city proper that had a stage and sound system. The Bog started last spring. They brought music back, which was that was a place that I remember going when I first turned 21, when I'd be back home in the area, like always catching some band coming through. So I'll actually be playing there at the end of March. Um, but yeah, like when I feel like when Tinks was around, that was very much a place where you could see local, regional, national, world
Yeah,
touring bands.
yeah.
And so hopefully, if they, if things keep progressing, the Ritz will be that kind of venue where, hopefully, even when they have, these big acts come through town, like if they are able to maybe carve out a little space for a local opener. I know a
Right.
lot of tours, they come and they have their openers and stuff like that. But if it's like, if it's at all possible, I think that'd be really cool if they still allowed for like a local opener, kind of like a lot of what I do and how I approach things with music, as far as the the pounding the pavement aspect of things. I kind of draw from people I know, in the comedy world, where you know I feel like very few comedians that I knew and or still know, like, are they they view the open mics as, yeah, I'm working out, I'm working something out, and they'll hit multiple a night. And so, if my schedule allows, I'll still hit open mics. And then when it comes to actual venues, and tours and stuff, I know that like comedy clubs, venues, sometimes or oftentimes will allow for a local opener.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's different as far as like, the amount of, stage production and stuff like that, but it'd be
Well,
interesting if they did
yeah,
that.
I think we're lucky that, Josh Balls is a part of that. He was in Motionless in
Yeah.
White, so he gets it,
Yeah.
right? And he is such a promoter of NEPA, and he's said in countless interviews, and even to me, that he wants this area to be an area that people want to come to, like, or not want to leave. Like his mission is to like create this area like as a positive thing. Is like anything else, people have their negative, take on things, and sometimes that's louder than the positives. But um, I think we're lucky to have him as part of the resurgence of the Ritz Theater itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing an interview with him not too long ago where he mentioned the idea of how, back in the early part of the 20th century, the idea was that Scranton was a proving ground. And so the phrase, if you can play Scranton, or if you play Scranton, can play, elsewhere. We were a test ground for a lot of, shows that would then go on New York City, Chicago, all that kinds of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely a cool dude. I very much, I didn't get to interact with him too much, but I know that, after he showed me where I'm supposed to go and stuff, at one point when I saw that he wasn't running around and it looked like he had a moment, I did thank him for, like, in advance for what he's doing for the area, and what is going to hopefully become of the Ritz Theater.
Yeah. I hope Wilkes-Barre kind of takes notice too and starts. There's always, for the longest time, there's always this divide between Wilkes-Barre and Scranton. Like Pittston was like this invisible curtain.
Yeah,
Just people wouldn't cross that that border, right?
it's the DMZ.
Yeah, but now it's like there's a lot going on in Scranton. So if you want to do something, you have to go to Scranton. The Ritz, the V Spot. Steve Masterson, who once had Stage West, has Mutant Brewing Company, which is a great spot. Bar
Yeah,
Pazzo.
I believe
Um,
Steve was also the promoter for the show on this past Saturday night.
I think you're right. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, and then back a few years ago, well, maybe a long time ago, like we had like Wilkes-Barre area had like a good scene too. And right now,
Mhm.
back then we had, trying to think of different places. We had Nightcaps. We have the River Street Jazz Cafe, which is still around and probably the only good venue to play in, the Wilkes-Barre area.
There was Cafe Metropolis, was a venue that
Right.
I would go to often and
Yeah.
got to play a couple times.
Which is now a barbershop and tattoo parlor.
Uh,
Um, there was, shoot, what was that called? It was, well, the Voodoo
there was a place
Lounge.
called Voodoo Lounge. Yeah, I've heard of
Yep.
that. Home Base, I believe, but that may have been, I forget what
I,
Home Base was.
I feel like that was by where Murray's was, but that's all torn down now. I think that's where that was. But a lot of venues back in the day, and now there's, like I said, I think the Jazz Cafe might be like the Carl Hall was a great spot with AJ Jump had
Oh,
going,
that
but
was
unfortunately
very recent.
that's no longer a thing. So it's like, I hope that it's one of those things too. If you build it, they will come, and I hope that someone down in that area says, okay, Scranton's doing cool stuff, like we can do it too, and just have people moving about, you know, the two
Yeah,
counties,
I know one place that's been gaining traction, at least from what I've seen, and I follow them online, is it's called Spacement Arts,
Yes, Bob
and
Mack.
yeah, and so that seems like either even their comedy night is really taking off. Their comedy open mics, they've
Yep.
from what I've been hearing is like it's been a lot of like crammed people in there, which is great because that was something that I enjoyed going to, catch a show or just an open mic just to be in the audience. Um, it's
Yeah, I mean,
it's always fun.
you gotta give these kids something to do. I mean, you got the two colleges nearby, it's like, if you build it, they will come. And I feel like if you get people, something to do, they'll do it. But you gotta do it right. You gotta advertise it. You gotta make people aware of it, right? But
Yeah, and maybe I do like the amount of life that we're seeing in resurgence. It seems as though we're still very much kind of getting back out there. So hopefully more and more, people would be, dusting off the cobwebs,
yeah,
catching shows, showing the support that the local scenes, whether it be music, comedy, theater, any kind of arts, you know, the support that they deserve.
yeah, it can be cool, man. It can be cool. If you can open for any artist, who would that be?
I would definitely uh, it's got to be Blink. I
Yeah,
feel like yeah. I mean I I feel like the sounds would mesh well. Um, our humor would mesh well. Our flesh would mesh well. Yeah, them or who? I think also uh, yeah, I'm gonna go with them because I guess technically I've already played with the Men Singers, although I wouldn't pass up an opportunity to open for them.
sure.
Because those guys are great. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna say Blink it would be number one for sure.
What were your thoughts on their new album?
I enjoyed it. There's a lot of songs
Hmm.
on it, and I listened to it actually on my way back from. I played out in Gettysburg a couple times this past year, but one of the times, yeah, it was in the summer. Or was it in the summer? No, it was in the fall. Yeah, it came out in the fall.
Yeah,
So I listened to it on the way back, and I was like, oh, okay. And so in listening to that, I was like, oh, well, there's with the diversity of songs on that album, it kind of gave me the confidence for mine where I was like, oh, okay, well, they've got songs that, yeah, they sound like, them. And then they also have like, shows a new direction. And then some other songs that are, like One More Time, is like the slower song kind of thing. So I was like, okay, there's no reason that on my record I can't have a song like Without a Fight, which is just straight up alternative pop punk, or In My Mind, which is like the more singer songwriter aspect, or then even a song like The Nautilus, which has like this electro pop drum loop kind of thing that I kind of feel very much was inspired by Phil Collins.
and that's one thing I meant to mention. Yeah, the album is very diverse in that you have those different, I don't want to say styles, but different speeds,
Yeah,
maybe,
but and much like, at least from what my impression was of the Blink album and other bands that do that, where like it's them, like you still know it's them, even though it might be veering off to this style of song. It's still, the spirit is still there, and that's what I was trying and hope, and I think did come out with Uranus Ore Mine. Um, there are many times when I was recording and one session would be like, okay, here's like the singer songwriter stuff, and then like another section is just like, all right, here's the more rock oriented stuff, and then even another one would be like, okay, yeah, let's let's get those harmonica tracks down, and it's just like, all right.
Yeah, one thing that always bothers me about, people when bands kind of come out with new records and kind of experiment, they're like, oh, they either they sold out or it doesn't sound like, their last record. And it's like, these are artists. Like, how dare you try and like tell them that to keep doing the same thing over and over again? Like, they're supposed to take chances and create and do all these things. Like, shut up.
Yeah, they're the kind of people that I can imagine them being like, oh, MC Escher, I liked him better when he was doing his tessellations. What are these impossible objects he's got going on?
Yeah.
Like, he's just let the man paint.
Yeah. And that new Blink album, like you heard, old early 2000s Blink. There was a couple songs that sounded like Boxcar Racer, which I loved.
Mm-hmm.
And One More Time, obviously, such a simple song, but so powerful in like the message.
Yeah, especially like for people like that follow the soap opera that is that
Yeah.
band sometimes.
I hope that's, I saw an interview they did with Zane Lowe, and they kind of said like this is like, they're not going to fuck it up again. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope they don't. I hope they found peace and they can continue living in harmony.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I saw the same interview, and like yeah, it's like, oh, mom and dad got back together.
Yeah. And they've written songs about that.
Yeah.
So today's January 30th. I mean, I'm only prefacing that because this is recorded and it'll be released in the next week or two. In which case, things, may have changed, but we just came off of, I don't know if you follow sports, but like a Super Sunday, like the conference championships. We got the
Mm-hmm.
49ers. They're going to face the Chiefs in the Super Bowl in a couple weeks, February 11th, I think it is.
Yeah.
Uh, any interest in sports and football? And what's your take on Taylor Swift?
Yeah. Well, I was kind of bummed that the Ravens lost because close family friends in Baltimore, many friends in Baltimore, but family friends, I mean, specifically, they, they're hardcore, and I like hardcore, but like devout. And I always try to, if, because I went to school in the Philly area, I became, an Eagles fan and enjoy following them. But if I don't have a dog in the fight, I try to go for someone that like I at least know someone who has a connection to in some way. So I was bummed about that. But yeah, I think the Taylor Swift thing is great. I sort of wish that she would have maybe dated a runner, because that's the sport that I follow most, and there's no coverage of it, and no
Right.
one's interested in it, and I just can't help to think like, oh, maybe there's sprinters, throwers, jumpers, runners, and stuff. Like, if any one of them caught her attention, maybe like on Wednesday nights they'd be like, yeah, here's this indoor track meet. By the way, here's Taylor Swift. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, cool, I'll take it.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted the Lions to win just because they've never gone to the Super Bowl
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Um, and then I actually watched football all day for the first time in probably 3 years. So I'm getting the games mixed up. The Lions played the Niners,
I believe so.
and I think the
Right?
the Chiefs played
And
the
the Chiefs
Ravens.
play the Ravens. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the games because I remember let's see, this past Sunday I was I was like sleeping and just like kind of chilling out from I was feeling a little under the weather, so I went to bed like really early.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I was worn out from Saturday night.
Have you seen any of the Taylor Swift information going around, the conspiracy theories that are happening?
Just like just a cursory glance of them, and which like my position on a lot of conspiracy theories involving like with that one, it's like okay, so if it's all rigged, I would imagine like that would mean all of the people that believe that's true would bet on the Chiefs, right? Did a
Right.
bunch of people bet the house and then now they've got that serious like fuck you money now
Right.
or like because if they truly believe in it then it's like all right
Yeah.
then bet on it.
Yeah. I don't know if we're thinking about the same one, but the that this whole thing is yeah, like, this is all part of the plan, and then the Chiefs gonna win the Super Bowl, and then Taylor Swift is gonna endorse Joe Biden for president.
I mean she already pretty much uh has I remember seeing an interview maybe not like it was like footage from a behind the scenes where she's having like this very sincere moment of talking about like some regrets about the last or like in like the 2016 era and talking about how she could have had a voice or a more assertive voice but because of protecting a brand and now I think she's like just very much going to be doing things for her. I don't know if yeah I can't I couldn't even imagine like she'd already gotten so many people to register so that's great the more people participating in our democracy the better. I mean um here in Scranton we had a an election not too long ago this past November. I want to say 30% of the eligible voters turned out. And so if that's like, on a local election, that's it's kind of a bummer. But then like, yeah, if the more people participating in a larger scale, like the better, more
Yeah,
voices.
yeah. I think people just kind of fell out of like they don't trust the process. They don't trust either side. So it's just like you know what, whatever happens, it doesn't matter. We're fucked either way.
Yeah, there's always like the hey, I look at my friends that live in other countries, like Germany, they've got a plethora of parties, you know.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with having a couple more parties to attend.
Yeah, what else? I saw another one, something about I'm trying to like watch it now when I'm listening, like talking to you. But like her catalog was bought by a group of people, Scooter Braun.
Yeah, that's why she's re-releasing all of her albums. There was this whole thing where the masters were some kind of deal gone awry, or someone went behind yeah the her back or so, and yeah, purchased her catalog. That's why. we're getting all these re-releases,
Yeah,
which is kind of neat.
it is neat. Yeah, and then it's funny because uh, Kelsey is like this big Bud Light guy. I like Bud Light, so I'm not talking shit. But Bud Light, he's a big you know, he's pro-vax. So that's a big thing now. It's just so much to try and pay attention to.
Yeah, that's why I like news wires. It's
Yeah.
kind of, but then again, I'm definitely chronically online and planted firmly in Reddit.
Well, it's like, who do you believe though? It's like this crazy like world. It's like I never know what I'm reading, what's real, what's fake, and what's a lie. And I don't
I
know.
usually go by like if something gets it, like if I feel something, I'm gonna again I it's probably because I also have like what I refer to as like my idiot focus every now and then, where like if something like catches my attention, I'm gonna read a bunch of articles about it, and from like many different sources, just to be like, all right, well, the commonality is
Right.
this, and so all right, so it's like okay, and then the next day totally forget.
I don't know. It's like follow the money. There's too much money. There's too much power in money. It's just like I don't know. That's a discussion for a different day. But
Yeah, it's fun because at the fire, I mean, we're there 24 hours, so you know we can. I'm pretty sure like before the first pot of coffee is finished, just before 7 a.m., we've just discussed and solved multiple world problems. But then all of a sudden it's like, all right, all right, first run of the day. There we
yeah,
go.
what's the craziest thing you've seen as a firefighter?
Um, it, it's all like, I guess like normal in the sense like, there's medical issues, accidents, fires, things like that. I, we do rescue cats. That is a thing. Um, there have even been stories. I personally haven't been on them, but I've heard of people rescuing iguanas, like plural, like at different times over the years. It seems as though many pet iguanas in the area have escaped, and people will call and say like, "Oh, there's an iguana stuck in the tree." And like whenever I hear like the idea of like, "All right, there's an iguana stuck in a tree," like where iguanas live, right?
Right,
Like that thing's not stuck.
right.
You just might suck as an owner.
Those are
Yeah.
probably the good calls to get though, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like recently we got to read books to kids at the children's library. Um, that was really fun. Love doing like the fire prevention month presentations and stuff at like elementary schools. That's always fun because like by like we'll go to a school and we'll have so many classes for that day. Um, and by like the third class, like we've really got it down tight to where like we were like, all right, that joke worked. We're keeping that at that point. I'll set you up like that. And okay, yeah, that other line, like it's not really hitting the way we had hoped, so let's just cut that. And it's just very much like putting on a show. And it's fun because yeah, I always I was all amped up, like asking like, all right, who's your favorite member of the Paw Patrol? Expecting them to say like, Marshall, but they're
Sure.
all like, like I'm like, who's your favorite member of the Paw Patrol? And like they're all like, Sky.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No,
all
wrong
right.
answer.
I'm like,
What?
all right, who's your second favorite? Like, is his name Rubble?
Rubble, yeah.
Yeah, like they're like
One
Rubble. I'm
more
like,
time.
all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Please just say Marshall.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool though.
Yeah, it's a good gig.
Yeah. That's sweet. Well, I mean, thank you for doing that. It's obviously a very important part of society and serving and protecting.
Yeah, it's a it's been interesting and fulfilling, and yeah, we all like, thank you for the support. We always we're just out there trying to do our friendly neighborhood fire station thing.
Yeah, fires are crazy. I can't imagine going into one.
Yeah, it's I mean, like, you got the training,
Sure.
so
But
like
still.
it's like,
But still.
but yeah, it's there are times when you're like, oh yeah, 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 I need to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
when you're in a room and you can't see your hand in front of your face because it's all just smoked up, and so we have these infrared cameras um, that help us, guide ourselves through as best we can. And you see like this glowing, and then all of a sudden it's very bright glowing, and you're like, ah, yes, fire.
Yeah, I never really thought about it. There's probably like the technological advancements have probably uh come into play like quite a bit, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like when I first got on, it was the officer that had this like large handheld uh, camera, and now in the years since, we each have on our packs smaller ones, so we could, trace heat signatures and stuff like that, to be able to, if there's something in the wall, or if there's a drastic difference in temperature between, like, that section and that section, you see it, you know, increase, and you're like, all right, chase, you got to open up that wall right there, and chase the fire throughout the house, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's pretty cool, and that's a fun thing to show the kids. um, because like when you shine it on your face, like depending on what setting you have it on, it's like, all right, any of you kids see the movie Predator? No? All right, well.
Never mind. You kids suck.
Yeah. No, don't you let your parents, they actually, they don't want you to, all right, well.
Got the wrong Paw Patrol characters. You never saw a cool movie. What is happening?
Yeah.
Oh man. So we'll get back to Betty White Devil, then we'll wrap things up. I'm sure you have to
Sure.
get some sleep. But I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but it is January. It's almost the last day of January. What do you have planned for the music in 2024? Anything as far as big shows coming up? Can we expect any more new music? What are we looking at?
Well, think like, I'll be playing a couple times a month now, through, like, I'm just hearing back more and more dates for the summer, but you know, next week, or no, second week of February, I'll be in New York City playing. Then at the end of February, playing up in Cambridge, Boston area. Then yeah, in March I'll be back playing in this area. Um, the 27th at the Bog is one to definitely check out, because as it is right now, Jamie will be accompanying me. We've got some fun stuff that we've been cooking up. But yeah, traveling, yeah, to a couple nights in a row at a couple venues out in like central and western PA, Gettysburg area. Gonna do, yeah, more Philly area. Just playing as it is at least twice a month.
Cool.
And then as far as new music goes, I definitely have material that I'm writing and working on. Just a matter of, kind of just demoing them for a while. I'll probably, just to keep things fresh for myself in remembering how to work the software in my gear. Probably demo a couple things maybe this summer, maybe put them out. But for the most part, it's yeah, just playing the stuff on the album, and then some fun covers along the way.
Very cool. Well, Betty White Devil album's called Uranus Ore Mine. Doesn't suck saying that. That's funny. But I guess all these dates are on social media or your website?
Yeah. The Instagram is the area that I'm most or the platform that I'm most active on, and so all those dates will be on there, and they're gradually added and subtracted as I play them and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely check out the Instagram. The music's on Spotify, and I think every other um, music platform there is out there.
Very cool. Well, DJ, David James Baker, Betty White Devil. Hopefully I'll see you playing out soon. I've got a new album to kind of keep listening to and find more songs I like on it, because like I said, it was not what I expected, and I was
Nice.
pleasantly surprised, and it's great songs. So anyone watching, listening, check it out. He said it's on Spotify, probably Apple, iTunes, and all that kind of shit. So check it out, Betty White Devil. Check the dates on Instagram, and hopefully I'll see you soon, man.
Alrighty, yeah, hope to see you out there.
Cool, man. Thanks.
All right, you have a great night.
You too. See ya.
Yeah.